Hey everyone, what's up? Hey, I'm just thinking about something again because there's been a lot of news about tariffs and how when the new administration comes in and how they're going to raise the tariffs, they're going to cause this trade war and it's going to really damage the United States and put us in a great recession again and that kind of thing. But before we jump off the rails, let's kind of like think this thing through a little rationally, okay? First of all, we have to kind of understand, well, what is a tariff? What's the definition of a tariff? And a tariff is just simply a tax on imported goods. Okay. And so now think about it like this. If China sells a hoodie for 40 bucks and they're able to sell that hoodie for 40 bucks within the United States, that's an imported good. All right. But there's an American made company who will sell a hoodie also, but they have to sell it for 50 bucks. And the reason why the American made company has to sell that hoodie for 50 bucks instead of 40 is because they have to pay employees, they have to pay rent, they have to pay for advertising and all kinds of different things, even benefits for those employees. And they can't sell it for anything less than that $50. They would like to sell it for more, but $50 is that thin margin that they can sell it for. Now, in order for the United States to protect that hoodie industry, or I should say that hoodie manufacturer, or that small business person who's making those hoodies, well, it would be beneficial for him if the United States placed a tariff on the Chinese made hoodie. And let's say, okay, the United States says, okay, in order for you to sell that hoodie in the United States, we're going to attach a $20 tax per hoodie on that, or so when you sell it in the United States, and so meaning that okay, instead of selling that hoodie for 40 bucks, well, the Chinese company will sell that hoodie for 60 bucks, giving that American-made company an advantage. And how it is an advantage is good for the consumer because now the consumer can go bargain hunting and say, okay, well, these hoodies are comparable, so I'm just going to buy the $50 hoodie made from the American-made company. See, tariffs are designed to protect American industries. Okay, they're designed to protect the industries of a given country, and we're talking about the United States now. And so now here begs the question: are tariffs a bad thing? And in actuality, tariffs are not bad. They're very good for, let's say, the local business person. The local business person now has an advantage of selling his goods in house. Okay, and so now that it forces it allows the American consumer to, let's say, buy American made goods, and then that American company can say, hey, you know what, I'm making such a profit, maybe I'll build another building, or maybe I'll make another store, maybe I'll hire more employees. And if that person is able to hire more employees, guess what? It gets your son or daughter off that couch. Say, hey, now you can do something productive with your life. And then speaking of the term productive, now we're talking about gross domestic product. Because, see, if you're able to make things in house, that improves your gross domestic product, also known as GDP. Okay. And so, in addition to that, maybe that person who's producing those hoodies can export his hoodies to other countries. Because here's how it works: we export our goods to other countries. We have to go through their tariff process. Okay. And that's the way it works, and vice versa. They come to our country and they have to go through our import process, right? So we export out and we import in. Now, the problem with the United States right now is that we import more than we export. And that has an effect on our gross domestic product because it stifles it. If we're inputting goods instead of making those goods ourselves, then our gross domestic product suffers. And here's another thing about tariffs: tariffs can potentially decrease your income tax, right? I said potentially because here's what happened in 1913. In 1913, the American government was placing a 40% tariff on imported goods at that time. But guess what? At that same time, in 1913, you were only paying between 1% and 6% income tax. So there has to be a tie to that because the tariffs bring in a lot of tax dollars, and then I could probably relieve the tax burden that we face. And so just to kind of give you an idea that tariffs are not bad. All you need is just really smart people to find that nice balance between, let's say, your tariffs, how much you're willing to import, and you really want to hope that you can increase your exports so you can improve that GDP, that gross domestic product. And so now, is it a bad thing? Will it cause a trade war? Well, here's why I don't think so, because I don't know if those other countries have enough leverage to engage in a trade war with the United States. And this is not to sound arrogant, like the United States is this big bad country. Well, I guess it is, but that's not really the point. The point is, are they willing to put their employees, their consumers, through the heartache of a trade war? Can they go through a trade war as long as we can? And see, and I think maybe perhaps not, because the United States is the big dog as it relates to global through the global economic process through globalization. The United States and China are a big part of that. And I'm not quite sure if a small country might be willing to engage in a trade war with either China or the United States. And that's the reason why I'm not necessarily worried about a trade war, because the United States has a whole lot of leverage as it comes to global trade. The United States has been the master of finance for better or for worse, been the master of global finance for a very long time. All right, so those are my thoughts on that, and I think I'm gonna finish right here. And you have a nice day, and we'll check.